Raise your fists together. I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Red and yellow, brown, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight. Everybody is somebody. Stop the violence. Save the children. Stop bullying. Save the children.
Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. You can make it. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sonia Whitaker, National Education Policy Director for Push for Excellence. And on behalf of the Rainbow Push Coalition, we'd like to thank you so very much for joining us here on our Saturday morning forum. We also want to thank Word Network for bringing you to us and us to you. And yet we recognize that there are many of you watching us right now on Facebook Live. If you're doing so, we'd like to ask that you stop for just a moment and like our page. And for the many of you who are watching us now on YouTube Live, we'd like to ask that you subscribe to our page so that you can gain immediate access to all of the content that we have to share with you. And speaking of content, we just can't do this without you. We need your financial support, and we made it really easy for you to give. In fact, you can choose from one of 3 different options. You can simply pick up that cell phone in front of you right now and hold it to the QR code and text the word PUSH to 41444. Text PUSH to 41444. You may also take that same cell phone and go to our rainbowpush.org website and click on the donate button. Now, whatever you do, again, we have a lot of content in store for you today. Do not touch that dial. We'll be right back, and the push is on.
Push for Excellence was founded by Reverend Jackson in 1975. Reverend Jackson challenged America to push for excellence, to challenge America to make sure that every child could have a high-quality public education. And every year, we have one fundraiser. It's our Push Excel Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship Breakfast. It's held on the actual holiday, the Dr. King holiday. And we invite you, wherever you are, if you can join us in person, we will be at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. And we have this breakfast to, one, showcase our young people, what they're learning, what they're doing, and showcase the possibilities of what young people can and will do if they receive the appropriate investments in them. And then we highlight our scholarship program because we believe that every child should go to school and money should not be an obstacle. And then we showcase our oratorical program, our STEM program, and we want you to help us fund our programs. We have a college-bound program, we have a historic Black college tour, we have all these things for young people and their parents. And so what we need you to do is either join us at the annual scholarship breakfast or you give to us. The tables are $5,000 for corporate sponsors, $1,500 for an individual sponsor. The tickets primarily go to fund scholarships and Push Excel programs.
Please join the Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. and Push Excel co-chair, the Honorable Judge Greg Mathis and the Push Excel family for the 33rd Annual Martin Luther King Breakfast on January 16, 2023. Honorees include the original Dream Girl on Broadway actress and Emmy Award winner Cheryl Lee Ralph, along with the Honorable Illinois Secretary of State and founder of the Jesse White Tumblers, Mr. Jesse White. Other honorees include Commissioner Natalie Hall activist Gentoo Brown, the Chicago Inventors Organization, and Chance Light Education. Please join us in celebrating the legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. at our Blueprint for Life breakfast on Monday, January 16th from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Marriott Marquis, Chicago. Tickets can be purchased at rainbowpush.org. We look forward to seeing you there.
Well, welcome to Spotlight on Education. I know that you're wondering on this New Year's Eve, what are we going to be doing differently next year? How is it that education will, what will it look like? What will Push Excel say about education? Well, we're going to be talking about educational policy. We're going to be talking about our Push Excel experience. It is a big thing that we're going to launch in 2023. I don't want you to miss it. And Dr. Whitaker is going to be really expanding the critical thinking series. We focused a lot on what's happening K-12.
Absolutely.
Well, Dr. Malveaux will be coming in with a program looking at what are we doing in higher education? What kind of policies need to change? And one of the big things that we're going to be pushing for, we talked about it last week, is how do we address student homelessness? That's a big issue. We found today we launched our coat giveaway in Chicago to needy students. One of the schools said that 19% of the student population in this elementary school, 19% of the students are homeless. So you're giving coats, but we have to try to figure out how do we provide safe, comfortable living spaces for children that we expect to learn.
Right.
I mean, that's a big issue.
Absolutely.
And I know you had some issues when we were in COVID and everybody's sheltered in place. Where do you shelter when you're homeless?
Absolutely. It was actually, I share on a number of occasions that it was actually during that time when our country, the world, quite frankly, first experienced COVID, that I learned that when we were giving, in my school district, we were giving out Wi-Fi hotspots and laptops to every student in the district. It was actually during that time, unfortunately, I learned how many families did not have electricity, so they couldn't even plug in the computers.
So even if we gave them a computer, even if we had hotspots for Wi-Fi, students still could not learn because they had no electricity in the home. And so many of us don't think about what it means to be without a sustainable living space, to live some people are living in vans, some in tents, and in Chicago in the winter, it's not a healthy place, it's not a comfortable place with all of the, we have COVID, RSV, and the flu. You have no place to negotiate that. And so as we look forward into 2023, we're really going to have to address student homelessness. It's not okay. And it's very difficult for students to try to figure out any kind of curriculum, math, science, anything, when I have to negotiate on an L, sleep on the L all night.
Absolutely.
Sleep on the street at night with my parents, or go to a shelter, and very few shelters take families.
Well, and speaking of all that you just said, I think about Maslow's theory of hierarchy in terms of the levels of need, which actually start with the need for food, shelter, and safety actually needing to be met before we can even move to the next level and think about things like how to ensure the students are thinking critically and analytically.
And so that's why when we say we have to really look at how do we support educators. When students arrive at school, that's the warmest, safest place they may experience on a given day throughout the week. If that's what they have, the only hope that they have, then we got to make those places more hopeful.
Absolutely. And speaking of hope, 2023, gosh.
It's here.
Yeah, it's here. And so that kind of leads me to a great pivot into our Dr. King day breakfast, I'll call it, and celebration. Let's
Yes.
talk a little bit about what they can expect from us.
Well, at the Dr. King Breakfast, we want to give you a glimpse of the Push Excel experience. We're going to give you the history of Push Excel that was founded in 1975 by Reverend Jackson, because he wanted to motivate students, motivate parents, motivate teachers to teach children not based on their income, on the income level of the parents, not based on what it appears, whether the students live in depressed communities, under-resourced communities. He wanted every student to feel like, I am somebody. And so Reverend Jackson went around the country telling students, you are somebody. You may be poor, but you're still somebody. And giving them the 5 A's of excellence. You know, if your mind can conceive it, your heart can believe it, you can achieve it. He talked about you have to have an atmosphere for learning. It's difficult when you don't have a home, so the school has to give you an atmosphere that you can learn.
Absolutely.
And then students and parents have an attitude that they can. You can't tell your children, you ain't gonna be nothing, you never were nothing, your daddy wasn't nothing, your mama wasn't. That's not motivational.
Absolutely. And speaking of motivational, I mean, Push is going to show up, Push Excel, and show out at this breakfast.
Oh, the breakfast is going to be different.
We're going to talk about, we'll have an opportunity during the actual breakfast to talk with you about the critical thinking series that we've launched. We want educators nationwide to know that Push Excel is committed to providing professional development to you. We recognize that the topics that we raise here on the broadcast, as well as on our critical thinking series, are topics that matter to you. We want to continue to present information to you, but we want to move beyond presenting information to you to providing you the types of training that you need to address the issues that we have brought up. And so during the King Breakfast, we'll talk more about that. We will do a brief preview of some of the topics that we discussed during our critical thinking series, as well as provide you information about the series coming up in the 2023 school year.
And so our theme this year is Blueprint for Life. What is your blueprint for life? Well, you can't tell me because you're watching me. Well, I'm going to suggest to you that if you buy a ticket or a table to the breakfast, you're going to understand what the blueprint for life looks like. It requires you to have an understanding of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, virtual learning. This is where the world is going. This is where many parts of the world, we're already there. And so we want teachers, we know that if you've been out of school, as I have, been out of college for more than 20 years, times have changed. Curricula have changed. And so what we want to do is update teachers and administrators with the new technology. We can teach you some tools that you may not be aware of. I'm learning, for example, Google Docs versus I think I store stuff on
iCloud?
Yes, I do the
Yes.
cloud.
Okay.
But you got to do Google Docs, and I can share the Google Docs. I don't know that about that. Anyway, we can teach you how to do that. We can teach you STEM so that you can make it easy. If your students are not able to come to school, you can give them a virtual curriculum. We have a virtual curriculum for history.
Yeah.
That
and
was
we're gonna talk more
provided
about
by
that.
virtual learning systems that we partner with. We're going to be able to teach you history that you don't even know.
Absolutely. And we're also going to be giving out scholarships, right?
Scholarships, we will announce the scholarships at the breakfast. Students have to apply virtually, so we got to help you with that. We're going to showcase our oratorical students. We've got the Smithsonian, we have a choir, the Timeless Gifts will be singing. We're going to feature all of the different things that young people can do. Our oratorical society, they're going to be performing. And I know you wonder, who's the keynote speaker? Who's going to set the tone? I'm going to tell you, it's a young man that Dr. King visited at the hospital, who is now going to the United States House of Representatives. He will be representing the 1st Congressional District.
Absolutely.
Mr. Jonathan Luther Jackson will be our keynote speaker. I think it's just profound that he will be the congressman, and this is the congressman that Dr. King went to the hospital and blessed.
Absolutely.
And so he will be our keynote speaker. Our own Judge Greg Mathis, the co-chair of the board, will be there. And we have so many honorees. It's just going to be powerful. And we're honoring people who are doing unique things in education. Chance Light educational system, they provide education for children who have disabilities.
Right.
So we're honoring them for their work nationally. We're honoring Shirley Ralph because of her commitment to education. Her mother was an educator, but also because of this show. What is that program?
Abbott Elementary.
Abbott Elementary. It's a spoof on schools that are in an under-resourced community, how teachers have to do things to make it work.
Absolutely.
And to how they can be creative. So we're going to show teachers some creative things that they can do to make school more effective in this 21st century. And we're asking educators, if you want your school to get upgraded with virtual learning curriculum, STEM curriculum, you need to come to the Push Breakfast and see
You need
what
to
we
have
do.
your face in the place.
Yes, ma'am. And the money is going to scholarships, a HBCU tour, to fund our programs. We need your support. And so we're asking you simply to buy a table. Every alumni group, HBCU alumni in particular, you should buy a table for your alumni association, because we're going to visit some HBCUs this year in 2023.
Absolutely. So there you
How
have
should
it.
educators come?
Educators should come because you need tools. You need strategies. You need push. One of Reverend Jackson's many sayings that I'll never forget when I first met him, when he'd stand right here on this stage, he would say, help push before you need help from push. So we need you, but you need us too.
So we need businesses. You can invest. You're investing in the present and the future. We have programs that retrain workers using this technology. We have programs, parents, I know it's hard for you to help your children with math. We have people that can do that. I know history may be difficult. We're going to be teaching civics education. A lot of young people say, I don't know why I should vote. Well, we're going to help you understand why you must vote when you turn 18. And some policies that you should be concerned about. So we're doing civics education, virtual history education. We're doing STEM education. We're going to expose our young people to the performing arts. Some children will be singers, some will be musicians. We're going to even show digital music. If your child has a particular social, emotional disability, we have a program that will address their needs.
So how can they get their tickets?
You just go to rainbowpush.org, or you can call us, 773-FREEDOM.
There you have it.
773-FREEDOM.
We look forward to seeing you there. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back because the push is on.
Keep hope alive.
For the past 21 years, Push Excel has sponsored tours for thousands of students to visit historically Black colleges and universities. These tours show young people what's possible, how to set their goals, and how to achieve them. Push Excel was founded in 1975 to further MLK's vision for education. What he saw convinced him the fight had to move inside, into the classrooms, and into a community that had to demand better.
I am somebody. Stay out. Excel.
Please join the Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. and Push Excel co-chair, the Honorable Judge Greg Mathis and the Push Excel family for the 33rd Annual Martin Luther King Breakfast on January 16, 2023. Honorees include the original Dream Girl on Broadway actress and Emmy Award winner Cheryl Lee Ralph, along with the Honorable Illinois Secretary of State and founder of the Jesse White Tumblers, Mr. Jesse White. Other honorees include Commissioner Natalie Hall, activist Gentoo Brown, the Chicago Inventors Organization, and Chance Light Education. Please join us in celebrating the legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. at our Blueprint for Life breakfast on Monday, January 16th from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Marriott Marquis Chicago, 2121 South Prairie Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Tickets can be purchased at rainbowpush.org. We look forward to seeing you there.
Push Excel's goal is to inspire students to strive for excellence in education in spite of personal, family, and community challenges that they might experience. How do we do this? By advocating for educational policies that guarantee equal funding for all students without regard to race or economic standing. by engaging parents, students, and teachers in pursuing high-quality education and striving for educational excellence at every level, and by forging partnerships with community-based and public sector stakeholders in education. Now, Push Excel is a national model program with the purpose of connecting principals, parents, popular personalities, and students in a bond and to support students at every level on the educational ladder. Now, we want you to become a member of the Rainbow Push Coalition and Push Excel. Your annual membership can help us to change policies that impact students, colleges, and universities all around the country. So step up and sign up today. Membership is only $35, and if you're a student or a senior, $15. Just go to our website, rainbowpush.org, and push join to become a member or push donate to support the Push Excel program. You can also text the word Push Excel, that's PUSHEXCEL, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give us any amount that you feel comfortable giving or call us at 773-256-2775. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you. And remember to keep hope alive.
When you shop, Amazon gives. Visit Amazon Smile and select Push for Excellence as your charitable organization by starting your shopping at smile.amazon.com.
We're excited to get more people involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. If you're interested in impacting public policies, if you believe in the scholarships that we give to thousands of students each and every year, you can become a policymaker by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now. For an annual membership of $35, or if you're a student or senior, $15, you can help us make a difference in the lives of millions. How do you become a member? Visit our website at rainbowpush.org and press join. Or maybe you'd like to support us. You can text the word push, that's PUSH, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give any amount you feel comfortable giving. You can also call us at 773-256-2775, or go to rainbowpush.org and push donate. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Can I get you to ready? Turn to your neighbor and tell them trouble don't last always. Come on, turn to somebody else and tell them trouble don't last always. Can I get you to clap your hands, everybody? Come on, stand on your feet. Let's encourage somebody today. Yes, you even at home. Remember that tough times don't last, but tough people do. Come on, everybody, clap your hands. All right, here, come on. Here we go. Say, I have a message. I have a message just for you. It's in His Word. It's in His Word. I know it's true. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're going through. I know the Lord. I know the Lord will see you through. Come on, say trouble. Trouble don't last. Clap your hands, everybody. Say, trouble don't last. Trouble don't last always. Come on, lift your voice and say, trouble. Trouble don't last. That's it. Come on, say, trouble don't last. Trouble don't last always. Let's take it back to the top. I have a message. I have a message just for you. It's in His Word. It's in His Word. I know it's true. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're going through. I know the Lord. I know the Lord will see you through. Come on, tell somebody. Trouble don't last. That's right. Come on. Everybody say, trouble don't last. Trouble don't last always. Come on, encourage somebody. Trouble don't last. Hey, come on. Say, trouble don't last. Trouble don't last always. Come on, help somebody and say, weeping may endure. Weeping may endure for a night. But joy joy coming. Say, in the morning light, weeping may endure for a night. Say, but joy coming in the morning. Say, weeping may endure for a night. But joy coming. Say, in the morning light, weeping may endure for a night. Say, but joy coming in the morning. Everybody clap your hands. Come on. If you believe that you're going to make it to the end, clap your hands, everybody. You know that the rain clouds won't last always, but the sun will come out. Say, don't last. Hey, say, trouble don't last.
Trouble don't last always.
That's it. Come on, sing it again. Say, don't last.
Don't last.
That's it. Come on. Say, trouble don't last.
Trouble don't last always.
Come on, let's say right there. Say, don't last.
Don't last.
Come on, encourage somebody and say, trouble don't last.
Trouble don't last always.
Come on. I know the way looks rough and I know it looks tough, but it don't last. Hey, say, trouble don't last always.
Trouble don't last.
Can we take it up? Oh, don't
last.
Hey. Come on, say, trouble don't last.
Trouble don't last always.
Come on, clap your hands and encourage somebody. Say,
Don't last.
say, trouble don't last. Trouble don't last always.
Trouble don't last.
One more time, let's go up. Oh, say.
Don't last.
Come on, say, trouble don't last.
Trouble don't last always.
You gotta believe it. Say, trouble don't last.
Don't last.
Hey, say, trouble don't last always.
Trouble don't last always.
Come on, say, trouble don't last.
Trouble don't last always.
Come on, say, trouble don't last always.
Trouble don't last always.
It's not always gonna be dark.
Trouble don't last always.
Hey, the sun has got to shine.
Trouble don't last always.
Yes, the sun has got to shine.
Don't last always.
You've got to hold on and say,
Trouble don't last always.
it always won't be down.
Trouble don't last always.
Come on, everybody say, trouble won't last.
Trouble don't last always.
One more time, say, trouble don't last.
Trouble don't last.
My name is James Lessiter Hall, and I will be reciting an excerpt from Congressman John Lewis's Good Trouble, Necessary Trouble. As citizens, we knew we had ceded some of our individual rights in order to live together as a society. But we did not believe that the social contract included support for an immoral system. Since the people invested with its authority, we understood that we had to obey the law. But when law became suppressive, when human law became tyrannical, we felt that it was not only our right, but our duty to disobey. As Henry Thoreau strongly believed, to comply with an unjust system is just to accept abuse. Malcolm X talked about the need to shift our focus from race to class, both among one another and amongst ourselves and the white community. He said he believed that this was not only the problem throughout America, but the problem throughout the entire world. This is what happens with poor people and why they are left out and left behind. Take a long, hard look down the road you will have to travel once you have made a commitment to work for change. Know that this change will not happen right away. When we were waiting in our movable lines on the courthouse steps or waiting in jail, we didn't know what would happen, but we knew it had to happen. We used to say that ours is not the struggle of one presidential term, or ours is not the struggle of one judicial appointment. Ours is the struggle of a lifetime, or maybe even many lifetimes. And it is up to each of us and every generation to do our part if we believe in the change we seek. Get in good trouble, necessary trouble, and help to redeem the soul of America. Thank you.
Push for Excellence was founded by Reverend Jackson in 1975. 1975, Reverend Jackson challenged America to push for excellence, to challenged America to make sure that every child could have a high quality public education. And every year we have one fundraiser. It's our Push Excel Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship Breakfast. It's held on the actual holiday, the Dr. King holiday. And we invite you, wherever you are, if you can join us in person, we will be at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. And we have this breakfast to, one, showcase our young people, what they're learning, what they're doing, and showcase the possibilities of what young people can and will do if they receive the appropriate investments in them. And then we highlight our scholarship program because we believe that every child should go to school and money should not be an obstacle. And then we showcase our oratorical program, our STEM program, and we want you to help us fund our programs. We have a college-bound program, we have a historic Black college tour, we have all these things for young people and their parents. And so what we need you to do is either join us at the annual scholarship breakfast or you give to us. The tables are $5,000 for corporate sponsors, $1,500 for an individual sponsor. The tickets primarily go to fund scholarships and Push Excel programs.
Well, this is Bishop Tavis Grant, the Acting National Executive Director of the Rainbow Push Coalition, along with Reverend Dr. Jeanette Wilson, who is our National Executive Director of Push Excel. You know, this is such a great time, and I want to thank you for supporting us and being a part of our viewership and our membership. We've just, closed out a phenomenal month of celebrating 55 years of the leadership and legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson. And as we are pivoting and segueing into a brand new year, this is Watch Night Saturday. This is Watch Night weekend. And we'll be starting a brand new year. You know, every year it has been institutionalized as an organization for us to really reflect and review and really bring about some sense of reconciliation as it relates to Watch Night service and its meaning to us culturally, Reverend Wilson. You know, when we talk about, Reverend Jackson's been so relentless on 246 years, the slavery dynamic, the emancipation dynamic. He's the one who coined the phrase that Lincoln didn't free the slaves freed him.
They did.
Let's talk a little bit about that because it's very significant to, the history of Raphael Warnock, for example.
Absolutely.
Plays right into the narrative of how important the Watch Night service, that moment in time, and then the Emancipation Proclamation.
So you have to think about when, at least when I grew up, and probably when you grew up, you're still in that bridge generation, we did not think comfortably that we could party on New Year's Eve.
Oh my gosh.
You had to go to church because we had to go to Watch Night service. And some people would say, well, I partied before, but you ended up in church because at midnight, at fellowship, you're going to be on your knees in prayer. You're going to pray in the new year.
And that was
like it.
All the way to like 6 a.m., 7 a.m.,
Oh,
right?
yeah, and you had breakfast at church.
Yeah.
And I know for some of you, that's like odd. What are y'all talking about, watch night? What you watching for? Well, it's biblical. Because you remember in Exodus, the 13th chapter, you remember when they were trying to escape to freedom. The idea was that you had to put the blood of the lamb on the doorpost so that the death angel would pass over your doorstep and you would be able to survive and go to freedom. And so they were praying all night. In the biblical times, the children of Israel were praying and they had prepared to leave hurriedly after that night. And so similarly, our slaves, they had heard that freedom was coming.
And Lincoln may be signing this document, right?
Now, they didn't have social media, they didn't have television.
It's power of the word of mouth.
Power of the word of the mouth, and they're beating these drums to communicate from plantation to plantation. And still, most slaves did not know. So can you imagine you are in bondage, you're not sure what's going to happen. What does emancipation, freedom really look like? Because you've never been free.
And didn't know the constitutional mechanics of it.
None
right?
of it, none of it.
And that whole idea of a civil war at that time. And I think, for me, as you reminisce, because I, sitting here talking to you, I spent a lot of watch night services at the Fellowship Baptist Church.
I know you did.
I wonder if I can collect on that or something. Because
no.
those were hours. People just don't know that the hundreds of people that would gather, starting somewhere around 9 o'clock.
No, they had to start at 7 because watch night service, if you were a preacher, you could preach before midnight. That meant you were.
Yeah, that was a group that preached before midnight.
And then on the other side of midnight.
Oh, yeah, where's Gregory Macon when we talk?
Look here,
Donald Parson.
Donald Parson.
Oh, Stevie Thurston.
On the other side.
These were like the headliners, right?
Yeah.
And I guess what, the significance, for us culturally, from a faith standpoint, you just did not want to bring in the new year anywhere else with being in church. You had to do several things. You had to clean your house because you couldn't go in dirty.
Right.
You're going to have black eyed peas, right? The next day for dinner.
Yeah, and
your family, it was an imperative for the family to do one or two things: either be in prayer at church, or if you just so happen for some strange, quirky reason to be at home,
you had to be on
everything
your knees.
shut down. Everybody on your knees.
You had to be on your knees at midnight.
Prayer at midnight.
And now, as you think about it, it was something about that prayer that I don't care what the previous year had been. You were on your knees saying next year's going to be better.
And I guess what gets lost is, I guess it would have, I didn't find out until later on the historical importance of it for African Americans being in slavery, hearing by word of mouth that President Lincoln is about to do something that's going to free us, not knowing to the degree. And when you add Juneteenth in and what happened in places like Texas and others, and long after that, but the whole idea of slaves, wherever they were, wherever they detained, wherever they were being held, had enough faith-mindedness to say, we're going to pray this through. We're going to actually pray that God would intervene and Lincoln would sign the Emancipation Proclamation.
And it's so difficult to imagine people that could not read or write having to believe in a man they would never see. They didn't have television.
Through the power of prayer.
Through the power of prayer, saying that some of you, not even all of you, will be freed by the stroke of a pen, and his signature would not be recognizable to those he was setting free. And I've watched a number of the shows depicting our move to from slavery to freedom. And most of the slaves couldn't even imagine, what does freedom look like? How am I going to eat now? Because now that I'm free, where do I live? The plantation provided for everybody. Freedom did not provide you with.
So when Reverend Jackson says we're free but not equal.
We're free but not equal.
It starts there. You're free. You have no guaranteed income, financial sustainability, housing, food, education, any of that. And I think to some extent, in a real way, we're still answering that question.
We are.
What does freedom look like for us?
What does freedom look like? It's not safe. We're free, but we're not equal. We don't have equal access to high quality public education. We don't have equality in our communities to investments and resources. Think about it. Yeah, we're free. Free to go anywhere you want, but you don't have the money to get there.
So could there possibly be a parallel between Title 42 and Emancipation Proclamation? You're free to get here, right?
Yeah, but you
can cross the border.
But you're not free to stay here.
But you're not free to stay here.
And I'm going to ship you, if I'm the
I will bus you to the vice president's home.
I'll bus you to the vice president's home. So they are free to come in, but not free to stay. And now we're trying to figure out how to get you back out of here. And if I can't send you back across that border, I'll just ship you around the country. When I saw the children who were here, parents saying, if I can just get you there, it reminded me of slavery. Can you imagine those slave mothers saying to their, if you just keep going, go through the swamp, if you can survive here.
Just keep going.
Keep going, don't stop. And then you get to a place and they say, well, no, you're not free here. You got to go, you cannot be free here.
And because of the Civil War, there was still this sense of defying.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was reading, one of the constitutional writers was sharing that there were governors who were saying, regardless of what's passed by the president or the Supreme Court, have them come down here and enforce it.
Well,
So this whole idea of January 6th is not a new thing.
No, it's that whole states' rights agenda. The southern states, remember the 11 southern states, the Reverend did a southern crusade through. Those same 11 southern states, many of them were January 6th, they were waving those flags January 6th. We either going to secede from the Union, leave it. We're not going to be the United States. We're not going to be a part of it. We're going to set up our own country because we don't believe in freeing these slaves. And I know you're saying, well, why wouldn't they want to free the slaves? Because it was free labor.
There's an industry.
It's a major industry, cotton, tobacco. They needed people that could deal.
Agriculture.
All of that. And they said, well, if I got free labor and you're not going to free them, then I got to pay for them. I don't want to do that. Even though the plantation owners took care of the slaves because it was, they were able to produce for them.
They were a possession, not human.
You've been to Wall Street, and we look at Wall Street and you just see the digits on television, but go to Wall Street and you'll see the African burial grounds.
Yes.
We were sold on Wall Street. I just can't imagine my ancestors standing up there on Wall Street, stripped naked, being sold.
As stocks.
As stocks, commodities.
Yes.
What do they call those commodity traders? We have one here in Chicago where we trade horses and cows and pigs. We were traded like that.
I think, significance of this, and I think, this is why every year, Reverend Jackson convenes us, because I think we have a moral obligation, almost more so than at any other time. You look at the significance of Raphael Warnock going back to a full term. After running 4 consecutive times, he gets a full term. You have Ossoff as a Jewish heritage. These two go to the United States Senate, 2 out of 100, and yet we're still fighting for voting rights protections. We're still fighting for labor rights. We're still fighting for the protections that come along with it, and human rights. And yet there is a moral compass, right, that should guide us now more so than ever, that if there's something that still works today, it is our collective faith power.
And I think the challenge, Bishop, as you talk about the different governors fighting and struggling to maintain a states' rights agenda, which says there is no United States. It's every individual state for themselves, and we get to choose what we want to do. You know about the criminal justice laws. You've been all across the country. You went to Kentucky. They got one law in Kentucky about how you handle search warrants. And then you went up to Minnesota, the same kind of thing.
And for those that don't know the work of civil rights and know the work of Jesse Jackson, sometimes lose sight of it from the iconic. In other words, he has sort of made it, or he has sort of arrived. And, you never get to the plane never arrives separate from the pilot. I think usually they arrive together, but not at all. So, the fact that Reverend has arrived is a misnomer, because when you look at him today, I just got a call recently. They asked me, how's he doing? I'm like, it's like, what is he not doing? I mean, every other day he's working out. Every other day he's doing something to, enhance, improve his health and the sharpness of his mind, and just being on point with what's going on. You can't, there's no separating the wind from the water. They kind of work together. And I think that when we look at emancipation today and how critical the historical aspect of it, we see people on the borders. We see people from Cuba and Haiti and the Dominican Republic. They are turned around midstream.
And Colombia.
And Colombia. They're turned around midstream. We have 2 separate policies when it comes to immigration. And so the industry of racism now, and how it impacts people, not just globally, domestically, is quite alarming today.
And so when you talk about Reverend Jackson, he wakes up every day with an idea of what we should be doing to respond to the needs of people. And so people, well, how does he feel? he feels like he's going forward. He keeps pushing us forward. And when he looks at what's happening at the border, when he looks at the level of unrestricted, unrestrained violence in America, all across America, just random shootings, this easy access to guns, he keeps talking about we have to stop the flow of guns. These people are not manufacturing guns in the inner city and poor communities. They're not manufacturing anything, as a matter of fact. Yet guns across the street, children having guns that they don't know how to shoot and hurting people. He talks about the violence. He talks about people don't know how to handle conflict. He studied under Dr. King and Gandhi, this whole nonviolent, peaceful resistance. That's what we're going to roll out in 2023. How do you handle conflict? You don't get to curse everybody out and just go shooting on the expressway. And when I think about these states, this states' rights agenda impacts education. It's a state right.
Yeah.
There's no federal right to a public education for every child. It's a state right for your criminal justice system, your penal systems. That's why you go to Louisiana, it's a different penal system than it is in Illinois, than it is in Georgia. It's a whole different set of laws that govern what happens in those communities. Texas, it's like we're living in 3 or 4 countries. Or sometimes it seems like you're living in 11 or 50 different countries. Each state is trying to become its own nation within itself. So when we talk about Watch Night and Emancipation Eve, it is important that you and I understand what we've been through just to get to where we are. This is not an easy journey that we have. When I think about Harriet Tubman, and she said, you're gonna go to freedom.
Well, you know,
and
when you talk, you know, my grandfather was a sharecropper and sent 9, you know, kids through college on an 8th grade education. And you talk about, you know, he and my grandmother were, in the classical sense, part of that generation that was, unrelenting in terms of the quest for freedom, education, you know, empowerment, a real sense and spirit of bottom-up, bootstrap living. We can make it, we will make it, we must make it. And you look at today, with all of the conveniences we have, technology and innovation, it almost is dismissive to say, oh, well, it's just another weekend, we're going to party, we're going to celebrate. But when you think about Reverend Jackson's quest now for universal right to vote, and the whole idea of if you're a citizen, that settles it. You have the right to vote. It is akin to where the nation was at Reconstruction. At Reconstruction, you were a United States citizen. You had the right. You had the right. Now, we could subvert it at the county level. We could subvert it at the state level. But constitutionally, you're a citizen, and we just didn't know until after Reconstruction that voting would be a state's right. Well, we were under the impression, right, that it was a constitutional right.
Every time we've made progress, the states and many times the federal government would decide, well, no, that's not what we meant.
Yes.
We don't want that to happen.
And many people don't need to understand the dynamics of the Civil War and Reconstruction.
Well, first of all, Lincoln signed an executive order, which is limited to his life as president.
Yes.
So
there goes the assassination. There goes the executive order.
Executive order gone. And so what he said, I'll free them, because he was trying to preserve the Union. Well, the Congress did not want to deal with the slave versus free until the 13th Amendment, and they freed the slaves. Until then, you just had an executive order, like Biden's executive order about student loan debt. It's an executive order. Congress, the United States House of Representatives, U.S. Senate must pass legislation so that it doesn't depend on a president's 4 years in office or 8 years if he's lucky. The Congress should pass.
But you got 3 pieces, right? You have the 13th, 14th, and 15th, right? That, you know, oftentimes people think, well, there they go again. They're just beating that drum again.
No.
No, it's significant to understanding The reason why voting rights have to be preserved, and it must be done constitutionally at some point, is you're going to continue to have states' rights to shift the balance of power to say, that's great, but over here,
this is what we're going to do.
This is what we're
going to do in Texas,
Yes.
what we're going to do in Georgia. And here's the thing. I don't understand why women, we're the majority of the population. We have the power of influence, but we also have just power of our own right to vote, and we vote against our interests every single time. We have the power to change the conditions that our children are living under. And so when you look at New Year's Eve, watch night, you better get on your knees and pray. This is a time for us as people in the United States. We say we are the best democracy the world has to offer. Well, we need to act like it.
Yet to be seen, huh?
You have to, look, show me some kind of sign.
You know, as you watch and view all that we have, I hope you go to our website, www.rainbowpush.org, because we have so much content on YouTube and even on Facebook that it is a real learning experience. And as we, get ready for a brand new year and an incredible agenda, there's so many ways that you can help us. One is a membership, $35. You can start the year all over this week, or you can still, this is the last weekend of the year, make that one-time contribution of $55. 250,000 families have been fed by us. We're on the brink of a phenomenal coat giveaway because the Arctic weather is here, and children and women and families that live in the crucible of this winter need our support and the resources that we provide. Your contribution makes a significant difference in making sure that we leave nobody behind. Of course, the work of Reverend Jesse Jackson speaks for itself. Push Excel. It's a phenomenal opportunity for you from an educational standpoint to become engaged, involved, and integrated in some phenomenal innovations that we have going on. But guess what? Without you, we can't make it happen. And so we need you and you need us, and together we can make it happen.
And so some of you, just before the end of the year, you need to do something to make sure that you get some tax credits. Join now. It's 31st. Before you get on your knees tonight, why don't you make a contribution to Push? It's your opportunity to invest. You don't have to march. Some of you say, I can't march, I'm too old. Well, you're not too old to give. Some of you say, well, I would march, but I got to just give so that those who can will march for you. And you can say, I made an investment. I know some of you are saying, I wish I had been around with Dr. King. Well, you're here with Reverend Jackson. And I tell you, I don't even know where he gets the energy from, but he is pushing hard. He went to the jail yesterday. That's what I want you to know, to visit people behind prison bars.
300 inmates.
300 inmates. So whatever you think, just help us before you need help from us. You keep hope alive.
Thank you for helping us keep hope alive. This is Bishop Tavis Grant, the Acting National Executive Director of the Rainbow Push Coalition, and I want to make a very, very serious appeal to you. You know, we've given out 250,000 meals, hundreds of meals this season alone, reaching out to persons who are living in conditions of food insecurity and those who are unhoused. Those of you who have made contributions, I want to thank you, but there's so many others of you who haven't made a contribution, and I really want to appeal to your better self and better half right now. You know, I'm getting ready. Reverend Jackson has given me an assignment of launching this incredible coat drive. We're going to be distributing coats all over the region to those who need it most and need it now. Your contribution helps us, whether it's through our food justice program or our humanitarian efforts where we deliver truckloads of water and resources to critically hard-hit areas. Even in the midst of snowstorms, we respond. And yet we can't do it without your contribution and your commitment. Now, at the bottom of the screen are several ways that you can give. And I'm asking you, as we close out this year, one more time for a $35 membership or a $55 one-time gift, or maybe you'll go into 2023 as a reoccurring push sustainer. And that's an individual who gives a certain amount every month to ensure that we have the continuation of your financial support and your financial commitment. and yet you can do so much with so little, help us to do so much for so many. And you, as one of our partners, can respond right now. You can text the word PUSH to 41444 and give immediately to this campaign to make sure that these coats are delivered to where they are needed, and they're needed right now. And of course, whenever you give, it is the fulfillment of knowing that while you can't meet me in these various areas, Reverend Jackson and myself in these various areas, your contribution helps us to provide transportation. Your contribution helps us to provide resources and relief. And your contribution makes sure that we are empowered and able to help those who need us now. You see at the bottom of the screen the telephone number that you can call, 773-FREEDOM on your dial. And yet, right now, I want you to go to your mobile device. I want you to go to your tablet. I want you to go to your desktop and make that contribution right now. And I want to thank you for, guess what, helping us keep hope alive.
We're excited to get more people involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. If you're interested in impacting public policies, if you believe in the scholarships that we give to thousands of students each and every year, you can become a policymaker by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now. For an annual membership of $35, or if you're a student or senior, $15, you can help us make a difference in the lives of millions. How do you become a member? Visit our website at rainbowpush.org and press join. Or maybe you'd like to support us. You can text the word PUSH, that's PUSH, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give any amount you feel comfortable giving. You can also call us at 773-256-2775, or go to rainbowpush.org and push donate. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you.
We are sanctuary. We are a sanctuary.
When I think of Rainbow Push, I think of two words: social justice.
Education advocacy.
Political empowerment.
Freedom and equality.
Corporate partnership.
Stop the violence. Save the children.
Don't get it. Shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down.
Political change.
Inclusion, evolution. Progress, justice.
Jesse Jackson.
Keep hope. Keep hope alive. Alive. Keep hope. Keep hope alive. Alive.
We want to be bridges to end these cultural gaps.
Going forward. By hope. Not backwards. By fear.